throwing fits, ripping shit, tearing it, imperative. Then I'm killing this mic no matter where I live. These derelict rappers acting a fool, this embarrassing is flagrant. That's the nature of this entertainment, and we can't even change it. Guilty before arraignment, now the system tainted. But when we speak, they all laugh at us. And y'all wonder why I'm lacking trust. Try to fight a giant with attorneys that can back them up. That's church versus science, both sides start acting up. I'm late on my assignment, hopping up a mile high, climbing. Obviously never silent, new alignment, I'm defiant. Cannot describe it, used to describe it as a young graffiti artist. Before the beard I always got carded. Hit every bar, even though my bar's been the hardest. The scars on my face and I ain't always been the smartest. But I'll show you where my heart is. I said I'll show you where my heart is. I can show you where my heart's at. See it on my sleeve, even if the beat stops my soul.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Tuesday. Little sports nonsense and whiskey hanging out with the fella. The other one's taking a sabbatical so he can go watch and not see John Cena's last ever match. Because you can't see John Cena. Yeah, anyways. My guy, how you doing tonight, Robert? Cheers, good sir.
Man, I'm doing good. I'm chilling. I'm ready for some new TV shows coming out. Some of them are coming to the end, getting some new ones coming out. So, ready for some changes. The movies are kind of down right now. There's not a lot of them that are coming out that I'm super excited for. Avatar, maybe. But otherwise, it's kind of it for 2025. So, I'm just kind of waiting for the new year, really.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. See what happens. There are some things coming in 2026 that are worth looking forward to say the least.
Indeed.
So that'll be fun. I want to touch on Pinky and that final show because I do think it's worth mentioning that he gets to go out to, it's DC, right? Where's that John Cena's last match at? I want to say it's in DC.
Oh, yeah, it's in DC.
Right? It's DC.
Yeah.
He's heading out there this week to go watch that. Should be a lot of fun for him. Hopefully it lives up to the hype that they've created for it, I guess. Gunther trying to be the career ender, if you will, and be his new thing, and the legend killer. And then obviously Cena's last match in the WWE as part of the brand. How do they allow him to go out? We've talked about it time and time again, how badly they've fumbled the bag for him since that WrestleMania match with Austin Theory. And then this final run has just been, cool. They hit these highlights and he got the Intercontinental belt and you got to do this, and you got to do that. But there was nothing tying any of it together in any cohesion. And even the matches themselves weren't necessarily great,
logical
as a whole. So, hopefully it ends well and it's done right and justice is served, if you will. But I know Pinky's going to be excited and enjoy it either way. So good for him. The end of an era. I know they talked about over on STR Cena's impact on pop culture and the impact he had for wrestling moving forward. And him and Ron were discussing, I believe, Hogan and Flair being kind of the top dogs. And I think, Cena might have an argument to be on the top of that mountain as far as the way he's moved things. The Rock might also have a claim. I think those two, along with Hogan and Flair, those are the ones that you hear crossover. When you get modern athletes saying, "Do you smell?" and then using their own name, or they're doing the "You can't see me." They're doing the Woos and the Brothers. Those are the ones you always come to mind, and those are the ones people always seem to use outside of wrestling, sports and movies, entertainment. Those four. So I don't know if you could truly separate one over the other. Hulk Hogan always kind of gets that grandfather clause, but you look at what The Rock and Cena have done outside of wrestling, that impact's much larger than anything Hogan and Flair did outside of wrestling. So interesting theory, interesting argument, but an era is ending. The Rock's no longer part of it. Cena will be gone. There isn't a, I would say, megastar in the business right now like that. And it seems like there's always been one, and now there no longer will be, is kind of the feeling. So kind of cool to see something transition. We talk about it all the time in football and basketball and every other sport. You were talking about it over the summer, I believe, with Tom Cruise and
He's the last
what he is to, what he is to Hollywood and action stars and things of that nature. And he's really kind of at the end, and that transition is starting to happen, and who's going to be carrying that mantle or take it up next. So I think it's a fun discussion and an interesting thought to then debate that next torchbearer.
Right. No, it'll be one of those, like, who's it gonna be type things, and when it happens, everyone, I'm sure, like, you'll know it'll happen type thing. But it's anyone's game now, right? Like, he transcended wrestling and became something entirely different.
Yeah.
What is the next big thing gonna be?
Yeah. I mean, exactly. And you talk about it all the time with sports, when those big stars, those carrying the company names, move on, that lull is going to exist for a little bit until somebody picks it back up. Sports, movies, entertainment, anything. So what does that look like, and how does that transition unfold is going to be fun to kind of see.
Totally agree.
Speaking of transitioning and moving on, there's not a whole lot of that going on right now in college football. There's a whole lot of stuck in and discussing the what if and things that are never going to be.
Bitches.
What?
And a lot of crybaby bitches. Looking at you, Notre Dame. Looking at you, Notre Dame.
Oh, man. Well, look, let's be honest. I think I straddle both sides of that Notre Dame fence, because as far as I'm concerned, you did it to yourselves. You're not in a conference. You played a schedule that was ho-hum to an extent. The idea that your resume, if you will, is simply enough to get you in, when on the field you lost to the team that you were vying against for that last spot. Head-to-head matters a lot. It should matter a lot. They beat you. That's a big deal.
And then to not say you're playing in a bowl game is dumb.
No, fuck that. Anybody whining about that enjoys participation trophies as far as I'm concerned. Bowl games are participation trophy games. They're nothing more. They're meaningless. They have no value. They don't transition into the next season like people try to claim. The only value you get is seniors get an extra game and their family's going to come watch, and the band gets to play one more. Shut up. I don't care.
Tell me how
the season is over. The reason you played all of those games is over. So going and playing an exhibition game does not matter. Could care less that they skipped it. Could care less. In fact, I'm surprised more teams don't do it. More players don't do it. You're playing in a game that doesn't matter, and you're risking your body. The other season, next season, has already started. The calendar for college football is already flipped. Transfer portal open. Hiring, not hiring. All of those things are going on right now. Why would you waste your time trying to scheme and plan for a bowl game that doesn't have any impact on you or your team whatsoever? It's meaningless. I don't understand why people are upset about it. If you want to go play in it, cool. I got nothing against playing in them.
Playing it.
I don't understand why people are mad when people choose not to play in them.
Nope. Should play in it.
Participation trophy. You want to get some extra cash? Cool. You don't need the cash. Don't play in it, because it's a participation trophy. You want to eat some orange slices? Go play in a bowl game. That's what they're for.
No, I think you should play in a bowl game.
Why?
Because you played all season for it. It's still another game where you're playing off in another team. It's an exhibition match, but it's still another chance to play against another team in conference, see what you can do. I still think it's worth it. It's still something to put forward. It's a game. Go for it.
If you're knocked out of the World Cup, do you say, hey, you know what we should do? Let's go play against another team that's knocked out of the World Cup.
You can't compare that to. There's nothing comparable to the World Cup, though.
That's exactly what it is. You're playing for the top prize, and you're no longer in the ability to play for it. And you're like, hey, you don't get to do what you spent the whole season trying to do, but you want to go play this other thing for funsies? Why?
That's how it's always been. You play in a bowl game.
No. See, and that's bowl games should have died a long time ago. A long time ago. When they mattered is when there wasn't any form of playoffs, and it was the AP poll versus the coaches poll, and that decided who the national champion was. So the big bowl games, the Rose Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, the Fiesta Bowl, the Orange Bowl, those games mattered. The Sugar Bowl, if I didn't already say that, those ones mattered because usually the teams playing in those bowls were in the very top 3 or 4 or 5 of the rankings. And so whoever won that was going to be crowned the national champion. Everything else was for shits and giggles to make people feel good about themselves. It was a cash grab. They've always been a cash grab for the university. They get a lot of money for competing in those. The conferences get a lot of money for being in those.
I feel like it matters. It helps the program.
If you don't need the money, then why go? Notre Dame is independent. Independent.
Well, yeah, it's a bunch of rich Catholics, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, they got their money. But beyond that, there's a ton of other teams that opted out of bowl games, and nobody's talking about them. Not a word about them. And they're all saying, well, if you thought you were this good, go play BYU and prove it. What does beating BYU or losing to BYU have anything to prove? How many times have you gone and played a game after a really important game and found out you were knocked out of something and were flat that next game? Because you weren't playing for anything anymore. So you think that game is then going to decide, oh, well, you lost BYU. You didn't deserve to be in. Oh, you beat BYU. I guess you did deserve to be in. Like, what do you gain by that? Like, look, if you feel the other way, cool. I just don't see it. Like them or hate them. I don't understand why playing in or not playing in an exhibition game matters so much to people.
Football, man.
Now, Derpy, that is actually where I'm going next because I think outside of Notre Dame having an argument to be in the college playoffs, there's also another team, which is BYU. I do think they have a legit argument to be in the college playoffs. And when you put Bama's resume up against those two, it doesn't make sense why Bama got in and they didn't. This idea, and I'll continue to say it, this idea that the SEC is better and harder, it's not. There's a bias within the media that creates the polls that have more numbers next to SEC teams when the season starts than anybody else. And so by the end of the season, they look a little bit better because naturally if you start with a number, it's going to be easier to finish with a number. Because even if one team that started with a number falls out, the teams that beat them can climb back in because they beat them when they had a number. Like, it's a flawed system. There's far better ways to decide this, and it needs to get figured out. Bama, though, and Derpy, you bring up 3 losses. I am very much under the mindset that win or losing, if you are in a championship conference game, you should not be penalized for losing in those games. If you were already in the playoffs before that game, you should still be in the playoffs after it, win or lose, regardless of the outcome. Should not be penalized for conference championship games. But Bama, with 2 losses, the resume they had, I would not say is better than Notre Dame or BYU. And that's where things get interesting. So if there's any team that really got screwed, I'd kind of argue it's BYU. because they lost to the second best team in the country twice. Yeah, they got blown out both times, but it's the second best team in the country. So you get beat by the second best team in the country twice, and you win all your other games. You're telling me you're not one of the top 12 teams in the country? Now, here's where it gets really interesting, Robert. The Power 4 conferences, which used to be the Power 5 when this was created because the Pac-12 still existed, have screwed themselves by the way they worded how the conference championships get the automatic bids into the playoffs. Because there was 5 of them and they only wanted to do awarding 4. So instead of saying 5 autos, they said 4, and it goes to what? The 4 highest ranked conference champions.
Right.
What happened this year? Oh, that's right.
State
There were
lost.
2 G5s ranked higher that were conference champions over the ACC. So now we have a conference whose conference champion isn't even playing in the playoffs, and 2 G5 teams move in. Because one of them's ranked higher than the ACC, and the other one's the group of 5 winner that gets in automatically. So, love it or hate it, the committee, for the most part, got it right. Based on the criteria that they had to work with that was set by them as a precedent and the rules set forth by the presidents that created this playoff system. So you can't, as crazy as this sounds, yes, they screwed it up all year long. Having Notre Dame ranked above Miami, foolish. Miami beat them on the field. Notre Dame should never be ranked ahead of them. That's where all the controversy started. Notre Dame can have an argument, but they know damn well they shouldn't have been higher. That in their hearts. Look, guys, one Catholic to another. Shut up. You know you shouldn't have been ranked higher. Okay? All right?
Damn.
Like, let's be honest about situations. Let's be truthful. So, but the committee put themselves in that situation. Why? Probably because they wanted the media hype and the controversy. And then what do they do in the very final rankings? They flopped them. Flippy, floppy, flippy, floppy. And then pissed everybody off so that they could have some, nice media attention, if you will. But that's how it should have been the whole time anyways. So, Notre Dame, you did it to themselves. You want to stay independent. But you better play a schedule. A schedule that leaves no doubt, even with 2 losses, that you are one of the best in the country.
Absolutely.
Now, going forward, really wild, somehow, apparently, they have talked their way into, if they're one of the 12 highest ranked teams in the country, they are automatically in the playoffs going forward. How they talked into that, I don't know. So if that becomes true...
That was wild. When I read that today, I'm like, what the heck?
Talk about
Pinky,
a sales pitch. I want to hear that one because...
That's for you, buddy. That's for
so
you,
the U's
Pinky.
in, Pinky. The U's in. You got your U. So Notre Dame, you did to yourselves. Play a better schedule. On the flip side of that, though, like in all honesty, what does any team in any conference have a reason to play Notre Dame on their schedule going forward? Right? So Notre Dame wants to talk a lot.
They provide nothing to the conference or anything because that's what seems to matter anymore is who's going to win what. And Notre Dame just wants us to hang out and be like, well, we're here. We're going to try to stay relevant. But at some point, you got to commit.
Everybody's going to start playing these 9 conference games. They're probably going to do it backloaded now as well, most likely, going forward, which means all your non-conference games have to come in those first couple of weeks of the season. Notre Dame feels like they're playing with fire right now. And sometimes that works out really well for you, and sometimes it leaves you no longer being a part of whatever else is there. Scorched earth, if you will. So they're in an interesting position. The committee, in the end, pretty much got it right. Bama getting in, I think, some bias there, regardless of the fact that they were in the SEC championship. I don't think they should have been in the top 12. I think that's where, the situation lies. And then the loss in the SEC championship game would have just kept them out of the playoffs. Had they won the SEC, they could have played their way in. But I don't think they should have been in that to begin with.
Right.
And they might be one of the 12 best teams. It's just that the resume and the record said that I think there's a couple other teams better on paper, if you will, that should be in. So it's an interesting situation. Again, we've talked about really simple ways to fix the playoffs in college football as a whole. We're not going to go down that rabbit hole tonight, right? Like we don't need to go rehashing that. But some controversy, chaos, if you will, and I love it. I mean, it's not like my team's in it, so
much.
Let the fireworks go.
Yep.
I don't think there's one team that's the favorite. I think Ohio State was a lot of people's before the Big Ten championship game, and then Indiana winning, I think, completely changed that. I think that made Indiana the favorite in some people's minds, but not enough to make it a majority by any means. Georgia, like I said, Bama might be the best team. They might have the best offense in the country. They might not. They're very inconsistent. I think A&M, if they're on, could light people up, but they've shown that if they're not on, they are gettable by just about anybody, you would feel like, in the field. Texas Tech is really interesting to me because that defense is like, you want to talk about defenses, think about like Houston in the NFL, Denver, that top tier where you're like, damn, that can carry you all the way. Texas Tech's defense is like that. Can their offense do enough and not turn the ball over to the point where that's what's going to happen? That's going to be fun to see. So I think it's wide open. To me, I think one of the biggest storylines that's going completely untalked about and unnoticed is JMU.
Oh, James Madison, yeah. Underdogs.
And watch how I tie this together. I think you'll enjoy this, good sir.
All right, bring it. I'm ready.
A few years back, JMU made the transition from FCS to FBS.
Right.
Because of that transition, the NCAA, being despicable as they are, says you can't compete in postseason player for conference championships the first couple years. Who was the coach that helped them make that transition from FC to FBS? Google him. Mr. Kirk Cignetti in Indiana.
Oh, you know what? I did see this.
He took JMU to a powerhouse into the FBS and basically gave them position to be what they are now. And then he went to Indiana, the arguably cellar, absolute bottom of college football. And in 2 years has had them in back-to-back college football playoffs.
Insane.
Looking like maybe the best team in the country without one of the top recruiting classes in the country. So you want to talk stuff about him being cringe and the way he handles himself and this, that, I don't give a shit. You know what that dude does do? He coaches the shit out of talent and makes them better. And that is wild. So he made one program able to come up to the top division and is now able to be competing in the college football playoffs. I think in large part due to the foundation he built. And now he's got the other team he's coaching in Indiana looking like maybe the best team in the country. And I don't think because people want to talk about what he said or the way he said it, he hasn't said anything that's not factual. When he said, Google me, people were asking him, why does he feel like he deserves the job, this, that, and the other? He's saying, I don't have to answer that. Go Google me. My resume speaks for myself. And it does. So it needs to be recognized a little more that Indiana may have gotten the hire of the century. Like, yeah, Alabama got Nick Saban and they got 6-7 national championships with it. That's really good. But Alabama's expected to win. Indiana's not expected to do anything.
Let's go.
So that gap that was created there and overcome is absurd. Absolutely ridiculous. And I think the dude deserves some just due. So I think that's a storyline that I'm watching, is that what does JMU do over the next decade? I mean, this is a lot of money that's going to be coming to them. Being in the playoffs alone is a nice windfall for any university. You continue to build, you continue to show you can win, your program matters, you're going to be able to go there and play for games that matter. Recruits start coming. And if recruits are coming and there's money to back it, then the program continues to build.
Yep.
It would be fun to watch a modern day David to Goliath story, because I can't think of anything like it right now if that does play out that way. And then the Indiana storyline is the Indiana storyline. I mean, there's a lot of fun storylines, but the fact that they have what could be the best team in the country and they were what they were, like, them winning, I think would be really good for college football. May not like it, but it would be really good for the sport.
No, it'd be great. I'm for it. It'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun.
So those games kick off December first round, 19th, I want to say, is the first games.
Next weekend.
19th and 20th, yep. So James Madison, Oregon. Look, everybody's saying Oregon's going to smoke them. Realistically, probably will. But Oregon hasn't looked dominant this year. So don't be surprised if you get a game late into the fourth quarter. Alabama, Oklahoma, it's an SEC battle. I think Oklahoma's offense is inept. Almost doesn't exist at times, but that defense is really good. If that best in the country Alabama offense doesn't show up, there's a good chance they could get boat raced against Oklahoma too. So I think that game's a coin flip. I don't expect a whole lot from either team as far as the championship aspirations. But like I said, Alabama could surprise us, I guess. Tulane and Ole Miss. If I remember correctly, this game has already happened. And Ole Miss beat the brakes off of them. Like 45-10. Give me a second here. Let's go look, because I swear, yeah, 45-10. Mississippi beat Tulane 45-10 the end of September. Now, I know that was a long time ago. I know Ole Miss is missing their coaching staff, or some of it, or just their head coach, whatever you're going to believe. We'll see who they let on the sideline come game day. But, like, let's be honest. If you already beat them 45-10, the talent on the field isn't going to be any different. Coaches might be a little bit different, but you're going to be fine. So Ole Miss, I think that's probably not going to be much of a game, unfortunately. And then you get Miami and Texas A&M.
Well, I'll pull for Miami because Pinky.
I can't do that, but I also can't root for the Aggies. Like, there's a good chance that's a cult down there in College Station. Not to each their own. Fan base is a fan base. Don't get me wrong. That one's just on a different level of participation, we'll say.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we'll see. It'll be interesting. And then you've got, like I said, you got Texas Tech, Indiana, Georgia, and Ohio State waiting with the first round buys. So,
yep.
Look, people want to talk about the group of five and blowouts. Like, dude, there were blowouts last year between Power 4 teams. A couple of them in the playoffs last year between Power 4 teams. One of the games people thought would be a blowout turned out to be maybe the best game of the whole college football playoff last year, and that was Texas-Arizona State.
True.
So let's not count anything out until the games are played, and let's see how it kind of runs down, because things that were foreseen last year did not play out to be such. Could be happening the same this year. So I'm interested. I'm excited. I think it'll be a lot of fun. They gotta get rid of the committee and go to an agreed upon rating system that doesn't come out until after the first months of games are played. They gotta move the schedule up. They gotta start middle of August. Like, we won't go down the whole list, but change has got to come. They got to come. This has to get corrected because there's a lot of really good, and there's a couple negative that are getting people hung up for no good reason. Last thing I'll say, and then we can move on to some NFL. Go check out what the coach of Arizona State has said about the current situation, landscape of college football. Go read what that man said. I'm not going to say it right now. I want you to go do your homework. Kenny Dillingham is his name. Head coach for Arizona State University. Go look up what he said.
You heard him, ladies and gentlemen.
And then just change your opinion if you weren't already agreeing with what he said, because this is a head football coach in the game finally speaking truth. Okay?
Dang. Laying down the law. Laying down the law.
Robert, transitioning into the NFL, the semi-pro to pro football. Start with your Detroit Lions. I would like to know, good sir, how are we feeling with the current status that is Lions football?
I just wish everyone would quit getting injured. Like, can we please just stay healthy? I'm not trying to ask for the world. I'm just asking for one thing. Like, eat your Wheaties, drink your milk. I don't care. Quit getting hurt. It's how I feel, man. That's like, it's like, oh, we're doing good. Son of a bitch, we're injured again. We suck again. Like, it's hard to get excited because it's just this, and this, which is how it was last season. It's like, oh, they're playing their fifth line defense because Hutch was out and everyone else was out at that point. So like, I've been here before. I'm just like, I feel like Eeyore, man.
Big weekend, big win last weekend.
Yeah.
The way things were unfolding, I really thought Dallas was going to win that game. It felt like the cards were kind of in their favor, and Detroit came out and they flexed some muscles a little bit. And while that game got a little bit closer towards the end, it was still Detroit walking out with that victory, keeping themselves in the wild card hunt. At this point, I would be very surprised if they catch Green Bay for the division. Now, I know Chicago's sitting there kind of too. I mean, Chicago's still in the hunt as well, but, you know, Chicago.
Loss to Green Bay was big.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. That loss to Green Bay now. Green Bay basically has an extra game in hand now because they've got that win against Chicago right now. So that NFC North looks like it is Green Bay's to lose right now. And that's a team that, I mean, man, we talk about flaws. Their biggest flaw just might be inconsistency.
True that.
Like, yo, you might be the most talented team in the league this year. But for whatever reason, you guys can't even put it together for an entire drive, let alone a series. 3 and out, you might show 2 of the greatest plays of the season, and the other one might be a turnover that just completely ends all of it. So I don't have by any means the same faith in Green Bay now that I did at the beginning of the year. I still have all the faith in Jordan Love, but that receiving core from week to week is like throwing some dice and hoping you're going to become a millionaire. That's big risk right now.
I'm not a fan because there's just so many things that can happen. It's like watching the F1 race all over again. It's like, well, this can happen and then this can happen, but this happens and then we could do this, and it's just like,
That division still feels wide open, even though I don't think
tough.
Detroit catches Green Bay, and Chicago and Detroit are going to be the ones fighting for that wild card spot, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Keeping in the North, on the AFC side, could that get more interesting either? Like, you think Baltimore finally catches the division lead a couple weeks back? You think they'll finally just keep it and run away with it? Pittsburgh wasn't doing anything that looked spectacular.
I think there's
Cincinnati looked dead without Joe Burrow. Like, there was no chance. Now, mathematically, just like last season, if things fall perfectly, they could still have a chance to get their way into it, even with the loss to Buffalo last week, which is absurd.
Joey B makes it.
So I don't. Side note, quick rant. The NFL has no idea what a catch is. They can't even enforce their own rule because they don't even know how to understand and interpret the own rule that they created. A catch is a catch, bro. Isaiah Likely caught that ball. He got 2 feet down in the end zone with control and made a football move because he extended the ball away from his body. That's the football move. Why all of a sudden do we need three feet down? Why all of a sudden is 3 feet required in the end zone? What are we doing? It was a catch. That was a touchdown. Des Bryant caught the ball. Megatron caught the ball. We all know what a catch is. That was a catch. And if you're saying otherwise, you're just so big of a homer, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, come on, man. If that was your team, you'd be arguing it was a catch because 2 feet down and a football move was made.
I don't disagree with you.
How many times are we going to move goalposts on these catches to have no idea what we're even talking about? And then to take it a step further, NFL, this is all on you too, because guess what? Why are referees not full-time employees of the league? Their own union, full-time employees. This should be their year-round job. They should not be moonlighting as referees and having a career somewhere else. That's ridiculous. At this level, with the money you make, you can't give them some benefits and a yearly salary and have them working on their craft year-round? No, sir. In New York, the fact that went to review and the head official came back and said I needed the 3 feet down, that was the football. What? Come on. How do you read the rule book and interpret it? Then it's like the NBA and saying this traveling epidemic that's going on right now is all within the realm of the rule. It's not. Everybody can see it, but you're not calling it. So then the players are just making it even worse. They're out there jazz dancing down the court without even dribbling now.
Dude, honestly, it's so bad.
A catch is a catch. I digress. Baltimore, I don't even know if they can make the playoffs now. They are struggling. Look, we know how this show feels about Aaron, but he's not what he used to be. As much as we wanted him to be, as much as we thought he might bounce back one last time, he hasn't. And you let him go for basically a 300-yard old-school Rodgers game, ran one in looking old school. Like, it's not a good sign for Baltimore. Now, Pittsburgh, you might just sneak it in and win the division and you're good to go. But, boy, that division, wide open. And that's a division we thought, just like the NFC North, those might be the most competitive divisions in the NFL with the potential of 3 teams getting in the playoffs from those divisions. And now you're looking at, 9-8, and the AFC North is going to be really nice to win. And over on the NFC, yeah, you're going to have some decent records, but whoever wins it, you're not going to be like, that team is dominant. Right. So it's wild in the North. Wild. Absolutely bonkers.
Unlimitless possibilities.
As for the 1 seeds in each conference, you've got Denver and New England in the AFC. Schedule-wise,
New England can clinch their division, if I'm not mistaken.
They've got a nice little path to clinch the division for themselves because they've already beaten Buffalo.
Yeah, if they beat Buffalo this week,
they beat Buffalo again, then they're good to go. They don't, they still have a nice path, but they've got to win out basically. But their schedule's easier down the road. Right. So I think they have a better opportunity to maintain the 1 seed, if you will, because they're both tied. I think Denver owns the tiebreaker right now, if I'm not mistaken. But they have the same record. Denver's got a little bit harder path with their schedule. So New England's got a little bit of an inside path for the 1 seed in the AFC. On the NFC, I don't know. I mean, I talked about how Seattle might be the best team in the NFC. They got a path for it. The Rams still have a path for it.
Jason's a beast. Absolute monster.
San Francisco maybe. They're 9-4 still. I'd struggle to say Philadelphia is still in that conversation. Green Bay's in the conversation for sure. They've got a path for the 1 seed still. But I think that NFC side 1 seed is far more open as far as who could walk away with that than the AFC side is. The AFC feels like it's going to be New England or Denver at this point.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, they could both lose out and everything could go chaotic. But that's the feeling right now at this point in the season that you get. It's up for grabs. Denver, New England, who's going to win out? On the NFC side, though, you got a handful of teams that are sitting right there that could easily.
There's so many ways the dominoes could fall. It's insane.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I would say I'm more interested in where the bottoms lie right now in both conferences. AFC, NFC, who's getting in those wild card spots? Because there are a lot of teams sitting in positions to walk away with one of those slots. A lot of teams are still in that running and very valid in that running.
Yeah.
Dallas is still, even after they lose to Detroit, and I'm like, they lose that game, they're probably out. Nope. Enough things happened and dominoes fell their way that they're still very much in the conversation.
Have a chance, which
not for just a wild card, for the division too, which is crazy.
Yep.
The Carolina Panthers are right in the hunt for the wild card, and not just the wild card, the division now, because Tampa Bay can't stay healthy and consistent. They're losing more pieces than Detroit right now.
True.
So, does Houston continue to play the way they are? If they do, could they catch Jacksonville for the division? Then which one of them is fighting for a wild card spot? Kansas City's still in the hunt, but that dynasty looks like it could be dead. It's not dead yet, but it's real close. The Chargers look like they might be a legit team, but boy, we all know how devastated that offensive line is. And Justin Herbert's playing with one broken hand. It's like he can't get hit too many more times.
True.
But they're right there in the hunt. They're a dangerous team. So, again, pick a team. We'll talk to you about their flaw, and then we'll tell you why they could easily minimize that and go on a run.
Yep.
It's absurd. Absolutely absurd. Robert, absurd, chaotic, fast-paced. What did the end of the F1 season give us as we wrap it up and move forward into the new year? How do you feel? What are you thinking?
I mean, it gave us a lot of emotional things for sure. I mean, number one, it was, I would say our green season. So it was definitely like getting into it. So bittersweet. Like, all right, now that the first season's over, now we have a totally different sport we're watching next year. We have a new car. We got 2 new teams, one adding 2 new cars to the grid entirely. A whole new set of racers. I'm just like, man, where do we even go from here? Because this last season was awesome. I mean, from all the different things that happened, I mean, from the Kimi and Max incident that pretty much prevented Max from getting the championship at the end of the year, which, Kimi even apologized to him for at the end of the race on Sunday, which Max was like, it's fine, we're good. It's, cool, good sports, but, it's all those things like the what ifs, right? All of these other things could have happened and it could have gone a totally different way. McLaren at the beginning of the season looked like they were running away with it. No question. No one was coming after him, and Max somehow found his way there. I mean, total chaos. And the night before, I had a holiday party that I was having a good time at, and the race is at 6 a.m. People are like, Robert, are you going to, stay? Or are you going to do... I'm like, no, I'm going home. I've got to be up at 6 a.m. Why do you have to be up so early? Because the race is happening. This is the most important thing here on my television this morning. Nothing else matters. I'm going to watch this, and I'm not going to miss it. And, I mean, the race kind of went as expected. Max at pole took first place. The middle of the race looked to be a little questionable with some of the things that were happening, but overall, again, it went to kind of where we thought it was. So something crazy had to have happened to put Norris that far back to not let him win. So again, It's awesome. I'm happy for him. I'm glad it wasn't Piastri. I'll say that. So good for Norris. I'm excited for next season and all the changes that we're getting already. Like, I'm super excited. Cadillac is hitting the grid fast and heavy. They were out this morning. So a new Donna is coming.
I'm stoked.
And it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
I think it's wild the amount of conversation that focused around just a handful of moments from the season that people are acting like completely determine Norris's championship. The papaya rules incident, namely the switch because of the long pit stop, the pass on Kimi that people were trying to blame on Kimi and say he allowed it on purpose, which was, I mean, crazy. And then the last race in his pass on Yuki Tsunoda, when he went basically off the track.
But he was forced off, like
deemed forced off, deemed he did not gain an advantage by doing so. The stewards gave no penalties. But people act like, you know, those three things change and he doesn't win the championship and may not even deserve to win the championship because of those incidents, as some of the narrative I've heard, which is wild to me because you could go find 100 other incidents that say, yeah, this, and this didn't happen, then he wins it in a landslide, that are just as easily arguable. But people don't want to go find and pick those ones out. They want to talk about these ones because these ones are going to be the most controversial, if you will.
I don't necessarily agree with that because, again, it could have happened at any point, right? There are so many other things that happened throughout the season that determined a race.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though. You're agreeing with me.
No, I am. No, I totally agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, all the other people that disagree, no.
Right.
It's not these other moments. You're trying to find a defining moment that said it this way, and that's not the case. Yeah, you know what? At the end of the race, you saw that from Kimi, and that was definitely reported on after the fact. But again, I was to a degree out of his control. There was nothing there and at that point,
bad tires, car wasn't on that day. Like, it is what it is.
Exactly, it is what it is, and also not to mention on top of that, again, nothing was at stake at that point. The season was still wide open, and yeah, Kimi, you're a rookie. Those mistakes are going to happen. So the overcorrecting, the whatever, the car, etc. You're still learning something, but it's not necessarily your fault. And yeah, Max could have gotten his next title, but it's not what it's about at the end of the day. Because we could all have those moments. So
yeah, exactly.
I totally agree with you, Caleb.
Celebrate the man.
We could all have that. Yeah, we could all have those moments, but at the end of the day, this is how the season went. And it was a great season. I enjoyed it a lot.
Hey, if you want to talk to me about the negatives, by all means, reach out. I'll talk to you about what I feel are negatives in the sport and could really detract people, and they detracted me in the past.
I know what Pinky needs is the track girls.
I have had a new appreciation for motorsports because I got into NASCAR and I started learning the intricacies of what goes into that. It's not just turning left. And because of that, I gave F1 another shot, and I'm very glad I did. It worked out very well that Robert wanted to get into it this year as well. Stars aligned, and we ran with it. So we're not going to say anything negative here. If you want to know the detractions, I'm more than happy to talk about it from our point of view, very new to the sport, things of that nature. So we're not trying to talk as experts by any means right now, like I would on other sports.
We're talking as green fans.
Very much so, learning consistently. But like Robert did say, I'm very excited going into the offseason now because I get to worry about nothing else. Like, I could give a shit less about any other team, any other livery, any other anything, because it doesn't matter right now. There's no anything at stake. I can solely focus on all the awesomeness that is just going to be Cadillac overload because it's a brand new team coming out and what it's all going to be. Testing, liveries, everything else. What are the drivers doing? Who are we going to be sitting in the pits and everything? I'm very excited. And it's all coming with a brand new car, new engine setups, new everything.
So much.
So it's going to be really fun to
it's
then.
It's gonna be like getting a green season 2.0.
That's what I was just going to say. We're going to have to basically relearn everything and still learn everything we didn't know.
Oh, I love it.
It's going to be catch-up overload for us, and we're here for it. So very excited, very much looking forward to it. And while I really wanted to kind of jump on one of the American teams, Haas was a potential. There was no connection there.
Mercedes.
There was just no connection. I thought about Williams being the underdog, having success previously in prior history in F1, but not of recent history, and they look like they could be turning things around. Alpine, the way they've talked, they might be a very competitive new big dog with the new car changes, or they could still be at the bottom. Probably more likely they're on the bottom, but who knows?
That's so mean.
I'm just saying, like, you know.
And hey, who knows what's going to happen with Lewis Hamilton at this point, because dude didn't even podium this year.
Dude, I know. So, and the big dogs may not stay the big dogs. This might be the time where people kind of make that flop again. Like I said, Williams, from what I have very briefly been able to gather and learn of F1 history, they've won some Constructors' Cups in the past. So, you know, what's keeping them from being great again? What's keeping Ferrari from completely falling off? Like basically what we've heard and read and seen, they're hanging on by a thread. Can Mercedes take the jump finally and get back up to the top? Or are they just going to kind of be stuck where they're at because their drivers aren't that good? Or their drivers are that good, but the car's not quite what it needs to be. I don't know. We're still learning. Okay.
I mean, it's only been 5 years. You can't, since Hamilton.
Well, I'm just saying though, like where they're at compared to where they were with Lewis Hamilton, right? It's a big change.
Sure.
So can they get back to, or do they kind of take a step back because somebody else moves up? What does McLaren do next year? Do they continue this dominance with arguably the two best drivers on the grid? Or does Max and Hadger go off next year as teammates with the new Red Bull car? Like, so many interesting things. I'm not expecting anything from Cadillac next year. If I get some points, I'm going to be stoked in every race.
Although I will say, out of the drivers, Valtteri is my favorite.
Oh, that dude's hilarious.
I love
I'm so
him.
happy I'm going to be rooting for him based on what I've learned over the last, year.
I'm so mad.
Bottas. Oh, talk about a personality. And then you look who's going to be sitting in the seat next to him, or adjacent to, if you will. That dude, I haven't heard a lot of people talk bad things about Ricardo. So, it's going to be a fun to root for what is perceived to be two really good drivers.
Right.
But I know I'm very much like now, instead of looking for a driver and talking about those aspects a little bit more this last season, I'm going to be really more focused on what points are we getting? Because I'll be truly a Cadillac team fan at that point. So that'll change my perspective a little bit compared to where you were seeing things this year, because you're a Mercedes dude. You already had that.
Right.
So you've got some of those feelings, and watching Kimi as a rookie podium and get
that
points
was awesome.
And get that feeling as well, where I didn't have any care for any team. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
So that'll be fun next year.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is like I love that I've gotten into it so much, but I also am like, damn it, because again, Cadillac's coming, and I love Valtteri with being a backup driver on Mercedes. So seeing him in a lot of the videos and stuff, like I've got an affinity for him. I want to see him succeed. And of course my niece and my nephew are like, Red Bull race car, and I'm like, damn it. So like I have to by default now support Red Bull because they're all about it. And I'm like, dang it. So yeah, for Christmas they're getting a bunch of F1 stuff, and they're all like, what's happening? And
hey, well, guess what? We're so new to the sport. We'll make our own rules going forward, and screw everybody else. We're going to have multiple reasons to root for different situations.
Oh, I know. I'm like, I've got 3.
Sorry, like, people.
It is what it is, but no, I'm excited for it. Again, getting to experience it this season, not just for my own enjoyment, but also with my family, has been phenomenal. So it's definitely one of those things, like it's a core memory. It's now become big in my family just because I got into it off of a fluke. So I'm excited to see where it goes from here and what all we get to do.
I love it. I love it. Going from that racetrack to
I don't want to go to the stage. Let's not go
the
to the
racetrack
stage,
that is our nonsense and the twists and turns that we can take on those conversations. Where would you like to allow that trail to begin this evening, good sir?
Well, first off, since not like, because you watched Andor season 1 all the way through, or you watched from season 2 all the way?
Season 2.
Okay, so
I'm going to go back and rewatch all of it now again, 1 through 2. But I had to watch. I had to catch up. I didn't have time to go back and start it again.
No, it's fair. I personally did not enjoy the start of the season. I thought it was slow. I did not like those first 3 episodes. I'm like, what are we doing?
Dude, that you could just feel the stepping stones being placed in those early episodes. You could just feel it.
But I'm like, I want to
slow maybe, but golly, the setups that those created, the storytelling that allowed to unfold.
Oh, totally.
Brilliant.
I mean, all of the revelations and things that happened with all the time skips and all of the episode arcs were just
I didn't want to ask you, like, it was so hard not to ask you questions.
It was great. I mean,
and it was one that we had very much kind of posed out there before it started, based on where they left off and where they have to get to. How are they going to handle that transition?
They did,
and it was done
so well.
Masterfully.
So well.
Like, when they cut and come back, you go, it's been that long, and then the way they pick up, you go, I don't know why, but I can totally see and feel what happened in that gap.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Whether it felt like it was nothing or it felt like it was big. And you're
especially
like, damn.
with having Gorman as your backdrop and showing that developing and just that whole storyline and how tragic that. I mean, Gorman itself, from its very first inception back in the 90s for what the incident they start off with to now what we get with Andor, it's just even worse. And you're like, oh my gosh, this poor planet.
The reason for the need. And you hear the failures and the inabilities to have to then force the hand to become that as the next step. And the human aspect that creates. Because when you see on the faces of people, when they realize, had they been able to do A, this B right now would have never happened.
Yep.
And whether it's their fault or not, ultimately it's the Emperor's decision to just be evil, right? But they don't understand that. They don't know that.
Nope.
They think this is truly for the better of the Empire and the people. And then the propaganda machine starts rolling and you see the layers of what's happening within the government and the people to get to where the original trilogy starts.
Absolutely. And I mean, I thought the way that they were, I mean, K2 throughout the rest of the series was great. I loved his moments towards the end of the series. And then just how you literally take these last 3 episodes, like you basically have a whole brand new trilogy with these episodes going with Rogue One and A New Hope, just all 3 of that back to back to back. It's wonderful and how they did that. And there's never been a better Star Wars story that was told, in my opinion. This is I think the best Star Wars storytelling, in my opinion, with what they did and how they formed it and what it linked and went into. It's hard to even challenge it, in my opinion. And I'm a Clone Wars person through and through, but I think Andor is...
You already knew.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think you can say Clone Wars, Rebels, or this is better than the other.
They each have their own.
I think all three of them were done so well, but are so different in the ways they both went about it and the stories that they're telling, that they're all equally crucial to the overall arc that we know of right now. And I would say equally important to the world building that is Star Wars universe as a whole.
I agree, and it definitely gives more cadence to the Empire at this point because they're at the height of their power.
I mean, yo.
Like, in absolutely amazing to get to see that aspect of it, because those are some of the things that I've been wanting. Show me what's happening on Coruscant. Show me how the Empire is literally flexing their muscles on the citizens that live right underneath them at their doorstep. Like,
yeah, dude. Yeah. And the again, we'll keep saying it, and I know I'm so late on this, and I apologize. I'm going to try to be so much better. It's hard with the little ones. I will do my best to never let this happen again, because we could have been having these conversations months ago, and it would have been more relevant at the time. But
so good.
The human aspect that was shown. I mean, the story arc of Mon Mothma and her husband and her daughter and her family and what she did and the choices she made and where that ends up. And you get that dichotomy, if you will, in that very last episode with him riding in that car with his new love interest and her on some distant planet leading a rebellion.
Which I'm totally, and this kind of falls on me, but also, again, it's been forever. The episode where Cassian goes and rescues Mothma from the Senate. The Rebels episode where they basically pick her up and gives her a speech happens right there. So when I finished that episode, I pulled up that episode and watched that, and then the actual speech that goes with it, and it's just ties in so well to everything else with where Rebels is at, which again we eventually get into with now going into Ahsoka. So there's so many like threads that you're like, oh, picking up on.
That's a great point, Robert. I don't think enough people understand how many things this intertwines and are going on now at the same time, which I think is the most underrated and coolest aspect of where we are right now with the Star Wars universe and storytelling. Because like you said, Andor ties into Rebels. Rebels ties into Ahsoka. Ahsoka directly ties into Vader. Vader ties into A New Hope. A New Hope ties into Rogue One. Rogue One ties into like this full circle that this has allowed to create by completely tying off the rest of the gaps. Because and if you haven't seen Rebels, like I get it. The animation very much lends itself towards young adults. I get it. The storytelling bridges the gap between young adult and adult. If you're a true Star Wars fan, though, it is definitely worth the watch. Because what it did was it really, up until this point, did the best part of telling the human element outside of the Jedi.
Oh,
without
totally
the Jedi.
Agree with that.
Even though there were Jedi in it, it was the closest thing to Andor before Andor existed, in my mind.
Yep.
And that goes for Solo as well. I still think Rebels did a better job of telling that what's going on in the universe, the world outside of Coruscant and the Jedi. I think Rebels did the best job doing that.
Oh, completely. I mean, with Rebels, you got a lot more depth with it, right? I mean, Solo, you can only go so far, and
right. And no fault of Solo. I'm just saying Solo didn't have any Jedi, right? But it still didn't really. That was a very narrow story told, right, compared to this stuff.
Correct, and that's where I do think that's it. In my opinion, it will be the Phantom Menace, if you will, of like independent Star Wars projects, because I think that, again, you and I love Solo, to my understanding. You enjoyed Solo as much as I did. And I think had it been given a green-lighted sequel to develop what we got at the end, would have been more successful for that storyline. Because
I'll be honest,
end it
I would love
Darth
to know what Solo
Maul.
looked like before Ron Howard got his hands on it. Not that I dislike what Ron Howard ended up with and the direction he ended up taking, but I am very interested to see what that original idea was, because there's enough there where I think we could have gotten a very different story, but still with the very same feel that was even more Han Solo.
Oh, yeah. And
I think Ron Howard went more on the safe corporate route for Disney, if you will. And the original story was going to be more of the indie Han Solo route, if you will. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Not that either one would have been better than the other. It just would have been more interesting, because I think that would have then tied in more to what we got from Andor and Rogue One. Totally. As far as the feel.
No, I
and then lended itself more towards that. There's no Jedi in this. This is the majority of what's happening in this universe.
Yeah.
And start getting people to realize the Jedi are such a small part of this overall ability to tell stories. And they play a major part in it. There's such a small percentage of it. And there's all these other abilities to tell stories with. And I think that's what this Andor season really shed light on, is now no matter where somebody wants to go within the Star Wars universe, you can tell an epic story. So you want to go back to the Old Republic. You want to go back to even further and the Sith Wars. You want to do something in this current timeline. You could go show how Yavin got created. We didn't see any of that. All of a sudden, we just had a rebel army on some random planet, which, again, the way it was done was so artfully and masterfully done within the part of storytelling, you don't really even question that, wait a second, that wasn't there before, and now it's fully operational. You just kind of accepted it because it was so well done. Mm-hmm. But there's a whole story you could tell there, and how the rebel army truly came to be. How did that general become the guy that they were going to choose to lead? How did they end up convincing Mothma and Bail Organa to be the ones that are basically the presidents, the board of directors for the rebels? Like, these are big steps, right? What role did the Jedi have? Because they did. If you know the overall story and everything that intertwines and connects, the Jedi had a role in creating the Rebel Alliance. Look at what Ahsoka was doing with the rebels as what was her code name? Why am I drawing a blank in her code name?
God, you would ask me right now. Shit.
Oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue and I can't think of it. All I can think of is Horcrux for some reason, and that's not it.
No, it's not, but I know exactly what it is. No, Fulcrum.
Fulcrum, thank you. So you see how that ties in, because she is with them from the very beginning, but she's leading these dark missions that you don't even see existing in Andor.
You could have Andor a whole Ahsoka season of her in transition, like.
But like, how many people in the Rebel Alliance don't know who started the true Rebel Alliance and have no idea what level of actual power he would have had he been able to get off of Coruscant and showed up on Yavin? Right?
Yep.
So there are just so many other things you could do with that and fill in even more of a picture for the story arc we already know of the Skywalker saga. But I think this also does a great job of saying this universe is deep and it's beautiful, and there are things within this that you can tell that have not even been touched on, that you can do on a level that should be recognized as some of the best stuff ever done. And for whatever reason, Hollywood is sitting there poo-pooing on this and not giving it its due, because this is some of the best TV or...
It got nominated for almost nothing.
One thing, Diego Luna. Out of all the actors, he's phenomenal. But out of all the actors and roles that were in just this season, Let's not even talk about how season 1 got screwed over. Let's just focus on season 2 right now. The amount of actors that just killed it.
It makes me
and they don't get recognized for anything. The art, the costume design, the cinematography. Like, I can go on and on.
You know,
what I've seen, and this isn't getting recognized as quality, I don't understand why.
The assistant to Skarsgård.
Yeah, dude.
That was her first role, bro.
No. Are you kidding me?
Nope.
Dude.
That was her, and got nothing.
I know you will for us, but that's an actress we will be keeping a very close eye on. She
yeah, I'm like, yo.
Killed it.
Yeah, dude, no, she was awesome.
The personal emotional attachment you had with that character by the end of that last episode because of what they showed you in 6, 7, and 8.
Yo, that Naboo flashback was awesome. Haven't seen Naboo in forever since episode 3. I'm like, what?
Dude. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So good.
The way it ties everything in, I mean, we could go on and on. You want to talk about it with us, please? Reach out. Because there's a ton we're forgetting. I'm so bad with actors' names. You're talking about the assistant, though. What's the name of the actor who is basically the main character for the entire Andor series, even though Diego Luna is the titular, I can't even say it, the main character.
Titular character?
Yeah, even though he is the Rebel Alliance. Why am I drawing a blank on all of these names out of nowhere?
I was about to say, who are you talking about?
Skarsgård?
Yep.
What's his first? Is Skarsgård his first name or his last name?
Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård. And he plays what character's name? I am drawing blanks.
Luthen Rail.
Thank you. Dude, there are only a couple characters that come to mind that are as powerful as his. And the fact that it's not getting recognized at all blows my mind. You want to talk about a true anti-hero?
Dude, his monologue from season 1, the
fuck
best
Punisher,
monologue.
Fuck anything else that goes along with that. You want to see what a true anti-hero is? Go look at this character arc.
That guy.
Because this is the cost. This is the price if you want to do something.
If you have a cause in mind, you're going to have to do this. Yeah. No,
and the way he goes about it and talks about it, sitting on the bench in Coruscant, talking with his insider into the Empire, and then the way that scene is left, like the weight of that.
So good.
I could go on and on, Robert. I could go on and on.
No,
I know you have other nonsense you wanted to touch on, but if there's anything else you want to discuss, throw it out there now before we move on. Because I don't want to get too far down the path because I know I'm really late on this and there's other things, but I know we'll come back to it.
No, you're totally fine.
Dude, it is quality entertainment.
No, absolutely quality. The next thing we're getting from Star Wars Land is the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, which will be in May. 5 months. 5.5 months, actually. But I'm not counting or anything.
Which is going to be much more lighthearted than what we just got done with.
Yes. Yes.
On a scale, you know what I mean? If you're scaling.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It's not.
I'm not going to say it's all buddy, hero, fun, goofy comedy, right? But
no,
comparatively.
Comparatively, no, it'll be a lot more dialed back. So I don't personally think we're ever going to get another project like Andor again. I don't know if it will happen.
I hope so because, I mean...
I would love for it to be the case, but I'm not putting my money on it. We'll see.
Just moving forward. Like, even if you don't want to go backwards and tell the history of with the old Republican stuff, move forward. I mean, the rumors right now going around that Disney's about to erase 7, 8, and 9 and start over, basically, and retcon it. Cool.
Would be awesome.
Just going forward, knowing that you don't have to do just Jedi and Sith.
Yep.
Yes, that is the core foundation of what this universe is and why it's so special that these even exist. And they're the 0.00001% of the population. But it's amazing and it's cool and it's special and it does make this universe and storyline unique. but there's so much more out there that you can talk and tell about and elaborate on. And if Andor doesn't tell you that, then I don't know what would.
Totally agree. And again, this is why I love Star Wars. There's so many different things you can go with that you're like, you know, you don't like this, there's this. You don't like that, here's that. It's fantastic. So, Star Wars is amazing. Watch Andor season 2 if you haven't watched the whole dang series. If you haven't even watched it, you're missing out.
Quick side note before you move on. I will also say, watching this reminded me of how much I enjoyed the Mandalorian episode with Bill Burr as a stormtrooper.
I mean, I love him. I would love
But it just, again, it goes back to that. This has nothing to do with Jedi or Sith or anything. You're expanding on the universe. You're seeing almost behind the scenes of what the Empire is doing, right? To get to where they were. And then you're seeing some random bounty hunter who's just basically floating around the entire universe willy-nilly, and how he kind of fits into this story out of nowhere. And for whatever reason, that episode stuck out after I watched this. Is like, damn, that's another really good just storytelling where you kind of just get lost in the story and forget maybe the actor playing it or the context in which it's built from, and you realize there's so much more here that could be told.
Completely. And that's one of the main things that I'm excited for, not only with Mandalorian and Grogu, but whenever we get Ahsoka season 2 and however that's going to expand the universe.
Dude, we'll be theorizing to no end on that one, because the way that ended, in the alternate universe and where they are and the implications of what that could mean, and if found, and
long gone are the days when you're like, oh man, this ended on such a great cliffhanger. I only have to wait 9 months. Now here we are 3 years later, and I'm like, I'm still waiting.
Yeah, but boys, you and I both know there is some implications there that could be beyond interesting.
But that's the best part about being a nerd, is you gotta wait. So we'll see. But so last stuff for the nonsense. Next week, Caleb. Next week it begins. So we got to make sure we hold Pinky honest, because he's got a lot going on in his life. But this is a project.
Oh, I'm excited, dude.
Fallout Season 2.
Are they doing one at a time, or are we going to get at least a couple episodes to start? Are we going to get at least really Jones our fix up a little bit, or are we just
my understanding, I think we're getting one. If anything, we may be getting 2. Let me check. Hang on.
Oh, I can't wait. What a...
Nope, we get one. Nope, we start with 1. We're only getting 1 a week.
Damn it! Okay, all right. It's going to be old school. I like it. What a fun surprise it was for me to find that and
so good.
Fall in love with it. You want to talk about great storytelling? I got no knowledge about the games, no knowledge whatsoever. I mean, I understand what the premise of the games is, but outside of that, nothing. Didn't know any of the characters. Didn't know any of the names, the scenarios, backstories, nothing. I watched that without any issue and loved every minute of it.
So good. There's so much to come. All these characters that are coming. Macaulay Culkin making his debut again on the TV.
That should be fun.
So excited. So gonna be looking forward to talking about that with you guys. And in the next coming days, Caleb, we're gonna have a hot topic video. Breaking news. Avengers Doomsday first look released. It's coming imminently. It will be here shortly.
You might be mad at me for this, and if you are, I apologize ahead of time, because I'm not meaning to say it in a negative fashion. And I hope I'm not the only one that feels this way, but if I am, look, I'm used to living on an island, right? I got a lot of them. I got a lot of real estate on islands.
Uh-huh.
I have gotten to the point where I don't even give a shit. I'm not even interested Like I'll watch
I'm
it.
more interested in for the
I'll watch
Supergirl
it,
trailer.
and maybe I end up really enjoying it and loving it, and what they do with it is awesome, and I should have never had any doubt, and so on and so forth. But based on what's come out recently, the direction they've taken, the amount of twists and turns they've had to go trip, hop, and jump over because of their own stupidity, it feels like, I don't even care. Now, I will also say I am a little bit behind. I haven't seen F4 yet. That is on the to-do list within the next week or two. So maybe that will change my opinion a little bit, possibly. But, okay, fair. Then I stand pat. Like, I don't really give a shit. Like, I have no yearning, no excitement for this like I have in the past.
If anything, Thunderbolts did a better job of getting me excited for Doomsday. Because it's
I thought that was really good too, and they poo-pooed all over that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed Thunderbolts more than Fantastic Four, if I'm being honest. Fantastic Four on its own is a good movie to meet them. However, what I feel, and this is what I've been saying from the very beginning, before we even get Doomsday, is there needs to be more developed time. There needs to be a sequel to Shang-Chi. That needs to happen. There needs to be a sequel to Fantastic Four, in my opinion, to really give us that, this is why we care about them.
Well, and this was all because they had to unnecessarily flip the script from Kang, right?
Yeah. So,
had they let that play out a little bit, they probably could have just rolled with it and not had an issue. Instead, they maybe jumped the gun a little bit, as it turned out to be ever so slightly.
I agree. I mean, I think Marvel's made a lot of mistakes lately. And I think it started when Shang-Chi did so well and they didn't greenlight a sequel to be done in X time. It was a travesty.
Or bring him in with an Avengers or something. Like there should have been
in a side
more...
movie, something. Shang-Chi should not have fallen off the screen this far. We should not have gone this far without seeing him again.
Whether you liked or disliked She-Hulk, that's another story. But when you bring out a project that nobody really cared for, nobody was asking for, and wasn't needed based on where the universe was right now, like you were barely using the Hulk, and now you're going to bring in the Hulk's cousin? Like, let's
introduce his son at the end of it with Daredevil.
That's what I'm saying. There's issues there that
why
you didn't handle the material the right way, and then you forced things that didn't need to be forced, and it caused other things to get pushed back or forgotten. And then you completely switch gears and decide to go a whole new route for the next phase, rather than what you had been setting everything up for. And where you're going now, you set it up not at all. Yeah, there's going to be problems. So I don't give a shit. I hope I like it. I hope I'm entertained by it, but I'll be honest.
Again, I'm more
excited
the last couple
for the things. The last Spider-Man, we know how I feel about the last Spider-Man.
I'm excited
Deadpool
for the
Wolverine. I didn't think it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a good story. I think it was exactly what a bunch of fans wanted to see, because they just wanted to geek out over Wolverine and Deadpool killing a bunch of people. And that's what they got. But I don't think it was a quality movie that does anything to add to or contribute to a universe you're trying to build. As far as I'm concerned, that didn't even really fit with the first two Deadpool movies.
Unless we find out why Thor is holding Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you could tie it in. But, so I feel like they not only have they not done a great job building a storyline,
yeah, it's like
because they switched gears. They've also, the last two really big projects I thought were just a bunch of fan service for fan service sake and didn't add quality to what had already been established.
That's fair. Can't disagree with you on that. So again, we'll find out here in a few days. Like I said, I'm more in tune with what the next few DC projects are going to be, because we're getting Lobo, supposedly Brainiac, a lot of other things. I'm excited for it. We'll see what happens.
So on that note, and we've talked about this off air a fair bit, I think you should have a little bit more concern about the gun universe and what's being built, because when new owners take over, they have a tendency to rock the boat. In any industry, sport, it always happens. It usually never works out well for the people who are already in charge. That being said, I am more curious now than ever because of what Netflix is and them sounding like they're going to win the bid to acquire these properties. If they, let's just say, allow Gunn to do his thing, they don't put their hands in the cookie jar, or they meddle very little, okay, and allow him to still kind of have his vision. Netflix being what Netflix is and acquiring these and seeing how successful the Penguin was, do they then kind of find people to run concurrent with what Gunn is doing in a slightly different way to then fill out the universe, if you will, similar to kind of what Andor has done for Star Wars? And again, I'm saying that with the premise based on what we know Netflix to be.
I mean, yes, to a point, but again, if we're going to base it off of what Andor has done, then it'll still have a CEO, and that CEO will be James Gunn for DC Comics. Like,
Did
it'll be
Reeves,
Kevin Feige.
did everything Reeves do run through Gunn?
Not initially. Now, yes.
Now it does. So everything he's doing for the Batman 2 is green lit or red lit by James Gunn?
Yep.
Okay. Fair. Do you see that happening then? And if so, would it be worthy to allow maybe another team under the supervision of James Gunn to go for a story mode like that, Penguin, Peacemaker, things of that nature, and allow them to run with that while Gunn just focuses on basically the cinema, the movies, and that aspect of building out the universe in that way?
No, because he still has, and in his quote is talking about how some movies are told for a cinematic medium, some are told for a series medium, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But it something to that nature where you have those things. Andor could not be something that's told in a cinema.
Absolutely not. But the Penguin is a good example of that wouldn't have been told in a movie. The way that was set up, it was done beautifully as a series. So why doesn't Gunn embrace that then?
Well, he is.
Because it feels like he kind of pushes back against. He really wants to focus on the movies to do this. So it doesn't feel like he wants to really bring in. Because even Peacemaker, he said he doesn't have plans for. And I know he doesn't really say or talk about anything until he has a script that he feels he can move forward with, which I respect. Until he knows he's got something that he's willing to go forward with, he doesn't talk about it. So for all we know, he does want to do more Peacemaker. He just doesn't want to talk about it because they haven't even started looking at the script yet. Because he's got everything else going on.
And remember, and it's not something that's widely talked about right now, Lanterns is coming, and that is a series.
Okay.
So you're going to get Lanterns, and then Supergirl, and then Clayface, and some of these other things. While yes, some of them are cinematic, there are still TV series that are being produced already. So they're already in that conjunction, which is why James Gunn, when he first took over, came out and said, when I'm doing my universe, whoever this character is. So we're going to use Lex Luthor, for example, William Holt. Whether it's a movie, TV, animated feature, video game, books, he is Lex Luthor. He is the voice of Lex Luthor. He is the look of Lex Luthor. So if Pattinson, for whatever reason, becomes the Gunn universe's Batman, which is still a very far stretch, he would be the one to assume Batman across everything DC. So when you're looking at that and looking at, okay, who am I going to put in as a character? Now you're looking at something what Marvel was doing back when they were doing the Infinity Saga is, hey, you're signed to X amount of movie deals. Well, now because of how the landscape has changed with streaming, it is now you're assigned to X amount of appearances or projects or whatever the language is. But he's still going through in that aspect of, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is DC. But you are this character in all settings. We're not going to just, oh, hey, because you don't have experience in voice acting, we're going to recast you. That's not going to be what happens here, which I'm all for, because when you look at what Marvel's doing in a lot of these cases in their animated features and whatnot, they're not the voices from the actors.
I agree with you. I just, the flip side of that and the area you can get yourself in trouble is if you don't have a pace in which you're filming things and creating these stories back to back to back to back to back over a 10-year period, you wait too long between projects, and the actors that are doing this are going to phase out of believability of what these characters are supposed to be in portraying.
Which is why James Gunn is being so delicate in building out the universe in full right now, which is why he's focusing on this element of the universe, which is why Batman hasn't been announced yet. That's why we haven't gotten a lot of these other announcements, is because
he's basically setting up the Superman extended as his foundation and then going from there.
Right, because again, we're getting a lot of the and I forget what he called it. There's this he has a certain, I think it's Gods and Monsters or something is this phase of Marvel is what we're calling it. So which is why we're getting Clayface. He's a monster. It falls in line with that. Superman is considered a god. Supergirl, a god.
Lobo.
So a lot of those things, you know, you have those elements to where, okay, we're going down this path, which is why I don't fear for anything of the DC slate for the next few years, because of it's already in development, and he's treated now as the Kevin Feige, the Kathleen Kennedy of DC in this case. So yes, this acquisition was definitely a hot topic on the table. I don't debate that, but then we're not only just going to have the debate about DC Comics, because you also have the entire new slate of Harry Potter seasons that are coming.
Dude, like,
and whatever that means. So
that's something we should probably discuss next week and dive into a little bit more, because there's no way we have time to even start that topic. No. But the library that Netflix is acquiring with this purchase is wild, and I don't know if everybody quite understands the entities and the,
which is why
the gravitas of what those entities are.
A lot of Hollywood is up in arms about this deal, and that's why Paramount is hand over fist fighting this right now. And to be quite honest, while I know it's not going to happen because the writing's already on the wall, Paramount should be the one getting this deal, in my opinion.
I'm trying to figure out why WB is even selling. To be honest with you, based on their library, they just need smarter leadership. They should be killing it.
Well, I mean, commercially
the things they could do with the own properties they own right now, I honestly, I'm trying to figure out why they're even being sold. It's crazy to me.
I don't disagree with you. I really don't. I don't understand.
Good, sir. Final thoughts, please.
There's a lot of good TV series coming, people. So, Paradise Season 2 just got their re-release, which Pinky turned me on to. Fell in love with that TV series. We got The Boys Season 5 final season coming out. We got House of the Dragon Season 3 coming out. We've got I forget what the title is, but it's it's the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I believe, is the next Game of Thrones series. Yep. We got Fallout Season 2. People, there's a lot of entertainment to be watched and continued now. So with these new seasons, there's been some time, and I hate saying this. You've heard me preach about it. You've heard Caleb preach about it. You got to go back and rewatch. You don't know what you've missed. You got to get caught back up with the time that's been missed in seasons. So rewatch it, fall in love with it again, remember what you missed, and hey, if you got a topic to talk about, you know where to come find us.
Solid. Pinky, enjoy. Good, sir.
Miss you, bro. Yeah. I can't see you because you're leaving.
We're out. I got nothing else this week. I appreciate you, my dude. Please like, follow, share, spread us around. Make us blow up. Then you can come hang out with us. We'll get some couches, some chairs. We'll bring the fans on. Everybody can hang out and have a good time. We can't thank you enough, though, if you support us in any way. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Please hit those buttons. If you have those moments with your inner circle, family, loved one, friends, do not take it for granted. Cherish those moments. Take advantage of every opportunity you can. You know our boy is out in D.C. right now. We appreciate it. We'll hold it down for him. Until next week, hit us up if you want to hear something. We're out.
Later.
Peace.
Pinky in the building, reppin' orange and blue. Broncos country, yeah, you know how we do. Hot take so wild, you remember the name. From college ball to the pros, Caleb spitting game. Robert here, the pop culture plug. From comics to racing, pour the drink in the mug. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, yeah, bold talk. Good laughs and a glass in the air. Sports, nonsense and whiskey, right? Kick back, tune in, take a wild side stride.